What is up, guys? My name is Ali and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the 5 mistakes that I made starting a business during the pandemic. So just to give you guys a little bit of background about me, I didn't lose my job due to the pandemic or anything like that. I am an essential worker. I do have another job, so I didn't lose my job or anything like that. But a year prior to COVID starting, I taught myself how to sew clothes. So I was sewing clothes for about a year and was contemplating working with wholesalers to kind of just expand my business and make it bigger. So during July of last year, I moved into a bigger space. And so I was like, you know what? It's now or never. So I just decided to start a business. So with that being said, this is gonna lead right into the mistake number 1 that I made starting a business during the pandemic. So like I just said, it was kind of a now or never thought. So I was like, if I don't do this, I'm never gonna do it. It was just kind of those like leap of faith type moments, right? So the first mistake that I made was not planning. So I did the basics of getting a business license, registering my business, starting a website. So I did all of that, but I didn't actually like plan out my business. I didn't plan content that I wanted to do. I didn't plan like what my big vision was. I didn't have any planning really at all. I literally bought like a pack, which if you guys have a clothing boutique, you know that that's like a couple sizes of one item. And I was like, I'm gonna just see if it'll even sell. It was just kind of like, let's see if people will even support me. And this is where I really messed up, because people started to support me and then I didn't have anything. So I sold out of my packs, and then I tried to buy new stuff, but it wasn't what people wanted. And so that didn't help. So one of the biggest mistakes is just not planning in general. And then that kind of goes into my second mistake. So I didn't set aside any money or anything like that. I didn't like buy inventory in bulk or anything like that. I just kind of started. So with that being said, the second mistake is going to be not waiting. I didn't wait until I saved up enough money to buy inventory. I didn't wait until I had kind of a good idea of what I really wanted to sell on my website. I just was kind of like, I like cute clothes, and left it at that. So that's a huge like mistake that I made, and you guys will see why coming up. My third mistake is not necessarily a mistake that I made, but just kind of circumstances that happened during the pandemic. So I live in Portland, and for those of you guys who know the area, the pandemic started, and then like summer came, and then it was riots for months and months and months. And so Portland is one of those cities that like the riots were very big and very large, and took a huge stance here in Portland. So that kind of had people focused on other things. And then right after the riots, fires took place here in Oregon. And so it just felt selfish to kind of sell my merchandise when so many families were struggling. I mean, there were so many counties around me that were evacuated from their home. My sister even had to evacuate from her home. So it was just like so much kind of happened in this time span that I started my business that it just didn't feel right. It didn't seem like the right time. So that was kind of hard to keep momentum going when so much bad stuff was happening. And then the fourth mistake that I have is losing momentum. Most of you guys should know that you don't get big overnight. Like, you don't just become successful overnight. And I knew that going in. I wasn't just expecting me to, you know, start a business and then thousands of people know about me. Like, that's not really what I expected at all, but I kind of expected a little bit more traction than what I was getting. And so once like October came around, I was like, I don't really know why I'm doing this. Like, I'm not really gaining any traction. And then so I had to like completely change up what I was doing, and I had to get more clear of what my direction was. And so once I did that, I ended up selling out for Black Friday, which was really awesome because it was my first Black Friday. And I kind of got a real feel of what it's like to sell out and have a bunch of people like interested in your stuff. But then right after Black Friday, it was like I hit the fan. Like, again, I lost momentum. Wasn't really sure of what I was doing. I wasn't seeing the results that I was looking for. I came out with some new products after Black Friday and they just didn't take well. And so there was just a couple months where I just lost momentum. I stopped posting as much. I stopped putting as much effort into like the photo shoots that I was doing for my business. I wasn't planning like my Instagram posts out very much. And to be honest with you guys, like it can get very disheartening when you're not seeing like a lot of likes or a lot of shares or even a lot of sales on your business. It can be really hard to kind of see the big picture and decide why like you're still going. And so for me, that's definitely what happened. Like I just kind of lost momentum. I kind of lost what I was doing. And then this comes into the fifth mistake. So the fifth mistake is getting stuck with merchandise when it doesn't fit my vision anymore. So during the beginning of my business, like I said, I didn't set aside money. I didn't buy a whole bunch of inventory in bulk. I didn't do any of that. So I just kind of kept buying merchandise as I was selling the stuff that I already had. And so I was just buying new stuff. And then the big issue with that, and if you are a boutique owner, you get this, is that not everybody likes everything that you sell. So that was a huge one for me. And that's kind of where the coming up with a target audience and kind of figuring out who you're attracting and who you want to attract to your business is so important, because now I have merchandise that I'm still stuck with from in the summer in July when I was just kind of trying to buy it and keep business going. And then also when I was kind of trying to figure out who my target audience was, I was buying stuff and that didn't resonate with my customers. So now it's kind of hard looking at my rack and being like, well, I have all this merchandise, like I don't really want to spend any more money. I want to get all this stuff out the door, but nobody's buying it because obviously I just see all this stuff on the racks. And so it's just really hard to keep going. So I know that not all of this was directly pandemic related, but I did start during a pandemic and there was a lot of stuff that took place with starting a business. And I know that there are a lot of people out there who started a business during the pandemic, unfortunately, because they did lose their job or they weren't seeing any income due to not getting their unemployment checks or getting laid off. And so it was just, I just know that there's a lot of people out there whose businesses did not fully succeed like mine during the pandemic. So I just kind of wanted to talk about that. I know it's very real, very raw, and my hearts are out there for anybody who's feeling discouraged with their business, because I've gone through it several times over the last couple months. But with all of that being said, like I still have not hit like my year mark for having a business, and I'm not giving up. So I really hope that if you guys are in the same place that I am, where your business is not necessarily going how you expected it to, that you keep going, because it really doesn't happen overnight. It really doesn't happen over a couple months. I think one of the statistics says that most businesses fail within the first year. So even if you can keep going throughout this, this first year, and kind of get over a hump is what I like to call it. Like the hump where you're still gaining your customers' trust, the hump where you're still finding out exactly what you're selling, the hump of just kind of figuring out what you're doing in general. So I hope that this was relatable, maybe even helpful for some of you guys. I mean, I know I didn't really give a lot of tips out there, but I plan on doing more videos talking about the mistakes that I made and kind of what I did to get out of it, or what I'm going to do to get out of it, or what I've learned from my mistakes, because realistically, running a business, that's all it is learning from your mistakes. So thank you guys for joining me today in this conversation. If you had any struggles during the pandemic, please comment below and let me know kind of what you went through. I hope that we can kind of help each other and work together to all succeed and win. So thank you guys. I will talk to you soon.